You should know that I do have two passions. The first one is the safeguard of our planet and the species that live on it. The second one is scientific research. Unfortunately, to do research in science is really difficult, especially for a woman. Sometimes the gender of a researcher matters more than their skills. Often it's necessary to move abroad in order to keep working. I had been living in Norway for 1 year, for instance. After work, I enjoyed walking along the harbor. There I met some Norwegian fishermen. As you can imagine, many of them fished salmons. I tried to talk to them in order to understand whether their work was environmentally sustainable or not. Often they met on Friday evenings on the beach. They talked and told each other adventures around the bonfire. Sometimes they invited me, and I was allowed to sit in with them. They told me their stories and their techniques. They explained to me how they fish and how they process the fish. By listening to their stories, I realized that the older among them were complaining about the drop in the amount of fish in the last decades. I was triggered by this information. Thus, I started looking for data. I discovered that the population of Atlantic salmon has been decreasing 10 times since the beginning of the 70s. I wonder how it had been possible in only 50 years. At this point, I had the mission to find out the causes of this massacre in order to protect the salmons. I told myself, I must find a solution to this problem. Salmons are undefended and they cannot fight for their rights, but I can do it for them. I opened Google and I started looking for salmon death causes. I discovered that salmons can die because they are eaten by bears. But this is not a great news. I discovered that they can die after reproduction. This is really sad. When they use all of their energy to swim upstream and reach the place where they want to lay the eggs. When the eggs are in a safe place, they are exhausted and they die. I think salmons has been doing this for more than 50 years. Therefore, none of these two causes explain the higher dying rate in the last years. At this point, I felt I would never have been able to solve this problem. I believed all the salmon of the world would die and I would be responsible for the extinction. I felt really sad. My year in Norway ended and I still had to find a solution. I moved back to Italy and I started to attend the lectures in Trento. One day I met a guy on the train commuting from the university. He was a student of material engineering. Chit-chatting between a question and another, I asked him about his thesis. He told me that he was trying to design some copper-free car brake pads because copper pollution has some bad environmental consequences. In California, they showed that many fish were dead because of high copper concentrations in water. When I heard this, my heart started to beat really fast and I felt immediately released because I realized there was hope. The salmon genocide could have an end. After this train conversation, the guy asked me out for a coffee, but I didn't have time for a date. I greeted him in the station and I ran to talk with his thesis supervisor, Cinzia Menapace. She told me that brake pads are responsible for up to 20% of the total PM10 emissions from non-electric cars. They are the main cause of copper pollution in the environment. Copper particles are set free from brakes every time we use them. They are transported in the atmosphere and they tend to deposit on the ground. They accumulate in streams, rivers, and seas. It has been shown that copper is a neurotoxin for fish, which destroys the normal functioning of their olfactory apparatus. This is one of the causes for the salmon genocide. The one thing that surprised me the most is that the effect of the copper pollution on fish has been known for 30 years now, and only in the last year we are doing something about it. This problem involves electric cars too, and we have to solve it. It's incredible how human beings are incapable of caring about the problems of the weakest, the needs of those who cannot protect themselves, and the minorities. Cinzia knows something about it. She's a woman and she's working in a male environment. Like every woman in a male environment, she needs to fight in order to be appreciated. Don't get me wrong, she's tough. The problem here is that she's one of the really few women that managed to have an academic career in a scientific field. She never gives up. She never stops, because her work is important. She likes her work. She does it with passion. Even when she had children, the passion was so strong that she didn't give up on her career. She developed, together with her research group, brake pads that are based on barite and are completely copper-free. Cinzia's work will help stop the salmon genocide, but now we have to do something to stop the genocide of women in scientific academic careers.